Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. Today we have Christy Hudson from Expedia, and I'm sure you're going to love today's episode because we really get to dive into travel hacks, travel trends, and if you're a traveler, trust me, you're going to want these tips. I'm going to pretty much be asking Christy questions as if I want to go on these trips because I love traveling. If you follow us on Instagram or TikTok, you know that we're traveling, we're always trying new things, we're exploring, and we want to share all the best tips with you. So, Christy, are you ready? Let's get into this. It's going to be a great episode.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I love it. So, Christy, there's something that you do at Expedia that's really cool, and you dive into like this report. Number one, you do it with flights, right? The Air Hacks report. What is that?
Yes. So we do an air hacks report every year globally. It started out like 10 years ago as kind of this broad travel hacks report. So looking at all sorts of things, flights, hotels, car rentals, like everything. But we've focused in recent years just on air travel because it is one of the most dynamic kind of parts of travel. It can be one of the priciest things. And in general, we just find that travelers are like very consumed by those questions of like, how do you hack it? Like, how do those people who always seem to have free flights do it? How do people get upgraded? Like, what is the code and how can we crack it? So we've just found there's such an appetite for that information. And Expedia has all of this data at our fingertips. We work with a third-party company for this particular report because we want to get our hands on literally every single ticket that's been booked and the data from it. So that's what we do in order to create this hacks report. And it answers questions like, what's the best day of the week to book? And how far in advance should you be booking your travel? And an array of other questions. So that is the Bible for air travel, in my opinion, in my humble and completely unbiased opinion, obviously.
Yeah, so unbiased. I love it.
Yes.
Very cool. So for 2024, what have you seen? Like, when should we be booking our travel? Like, when should we be online? And also, do we have to clear our cookies? Like, what's the key?
Yeah, there are so many tricks like that out there. So from a basic level, there
Yeah.
is a best day of the week to book, and it is Sunday. So that's the day you should be buying all of your air tickets. That's the day you should be, going on there and using your miles if you're buying a mileage ticket, because that's when prices are around 13% lower on average compared to a Friday. So, get rid of the Sunday scaries, book some travel. That feels like a good plan. The other thing, back in the past, they used to say that Tuesday was the best day of the week because supposedly that's when airlines released all of their new inventory. But because these days everything happens online, everything's, automatic, flights and seats are being released all the time. So there's nothing like that drives it anymore. Now it's really about when the least number of people are booking. So people are booking on Mondays because they're back at work, they're sitting in front of their computer. People are booking on Fridays because it's the end of the week and they want to get something scheduled to look forward to. So Sunday's just that like dead zone where you can get a good deal.
I love that. That's great to know. I even wrote that down myself. Okay, so let me ask you this. So Dani and I, our 5-year anniversary is coming up, and I really want to do something special. And I'm the kind of person that's super open to like any destination. I'd be down to try somewhere new. I feel like a lot of our audience resonates with that too, where they're like, okay, I would try somewhere fun, new, exciting, and I'm super open. I have maybe some dates. I'm a little flexible, but I know the month. I know I want to go somewhere in May. What is
Okay.
the best option to like not only surprise her, but surprise myself with a fun trip that maybe is cost effective, cost friendly, but also is something that's maybe a little romantic and fun? What filters would I use? Like, how could I plan this and make this really special?
Yes. Well, May is actually a really good time to go. It's what we call in the travel industry shoulder season. So shoulder season is the time between high season, like summer, for example, and a low season when the weather's really bad places. May and then also like September and early October are shoulder seasons. So fewer crowds, usually lower prices, especially if you kind of steer clear of like the spring break time frame. So you're already like doing a really good job planning for May. So kudos to you for that. Um, okay. Let's do like one international destination and one domestic destination just for fun. Here are my picks. Greece, right? So everyone went, I feel like a lot of people went to Greece last year. However, there are like lesser known, less popular places in Greece you could go. So my pick for you would be Paros. It's a Mediterranean island. It's a great kind of dupe for Santorini, which is obviously very, very touristy, beautiful, of course, worth going to, but very touristy. So it's a cheaper destination than Santorini. It's going to have less accommodations, so plan in advance for sure so that you can snag something. But Paros would be my pick for somewhere a little romantic, like warm. You're getting ahead of this busy summer season, so that feels like a great place to go. Okay, wait, I have like two more picks for you actually. On the whole idea of dupe destinations, which means this is actually something we have talked about in our annual trends report that just came out from Expedia. Dupe destinations are like places that are a little bit less obvious, maybe a little bit better value, less touristy. They're like, you know, the dupes that you see on TikTok for like Lululemon or whatever, right? But it's travel dupes. So the other dupe I have for you is Memphis. Have you ever been to Memphis?
Oh, but I've wanted to go.
I hear great things. I haven't been there either, but I have been to Nashville, and I'm not like the biggest fan of Nashville because it was so crowded. So I've heard great things about Memphis. You still have like great food. You still have a music scene, although it's slightly different music scene than Nashville, right? Um, you have like some of the really cool like Beale Street, like culture and history, very blues. So anyway, Memphis could be like an unexpected pick for you guys. Spend a long weekend. Um, and then my third pick is in Canada. It's Quebec City. Have you been there?
Oh,
So it's got like cobblestone streets. Like during Christmas time, they have like Christmas markets like Europe. It's in Quebec, so it's obviously a French speaking part of Canada. So you get like a little bit of that like European flair, but from North America. So that would be my other one for you.
I love that. Those are all amazing options, and I haven't been to any of them. I don't know how you knew that, that these are just new destinations. That was amazing. Um,
Lucky guess.
yeah, but also it's really cool that on when you're booking with Expedia, you can have that filter for LGBTQ plus friendly hotels. How does that work? Because I know people really look into that and want to make sure that they're going somewhere they're going to feel safe.
Yeah, so we rolled this out on Expedia. It's also on hotels.com if that's kind of your preferred place to book. But there's when you're searching for properties, you can find a filter on the left-hand side. It's LGBTQIA plus welcoming hotels. So there's about 40,000 properties that have opted into that on our sites. And in order to opt into it, they have pledged into this inclusivity pledge. And it just means that at a minimum, those lodging partners are enforcing a zero tolerance policy for hateful, disrespectful, or discriminatory behavior from their staff at any level. And then a lot of them do go above and beyond that, right? Like they might have special trainings for staff on sexual orientation, gender identities, and expressions. They might train their staff to use gender neutral language so as not to like incorrectly assume a traveler's gender. They, you know, avoiding any uncomfortable or weird dynamics with same-sex couples at check-in or check-out. They may even have like recommendations for nearby gay-friendly neighborhoods or establishments, and and just kind of goes on and on from there. But it's just a great tool. I mean, like obviously, safety and feeling comfortable during your vacation is like a bare minimum thing that everyone should have a right to. So, um, hopefully that helps people feel a little bit more assured in their choices and just be able to filter out other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. And I think it's something that Danny and I are always looking into because it just kind of ruins the trip, and the time away when you're just like watching and you feel like you're being watched or judged, you just want to really feel free. So I love that you can check that option out and see 40,000. That's a lot of choices. So we can look around.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. When you're looking at the trends for 2024, where is everyone going? And what's the main hotspot?
Yeah, everywhere and anywhere is the short answer. But I mean, travel's really like been booming since, all the travel bans kind of went away and COVID kind of the pandemic era restrictions kind of have wound down. So that's the great news is people are like back out there exploring the world. Some of the trends that we found from looking at all of, the searches, where people are searching, where people are heading to, there's a couple of things driving it. One that I thought was interesting is this last year, we saw a huge number of music artists go on tour. So obviously the Eras tour with Taylor Swift and Beyonce had a massive tour. There's all sorts of artists who are on tour right now. And people aren't just going to the tours when those concerts happen in their own cities. They're actually making a vacation out of it. They're going to destinations to see those shows and then experience the city on top of that. So we're calling that tour tourism. And that's going to be a massive thing for the coming year as well. Did you go to any concerts
No,
outside of your town?
I didn't, but you know what's funny? Whenever I am traveling somewhere, I always look on Spotify and I say, what concert is happening tonight? Because I just think that'd be so fun. It's like you're in a different place and then I don't even know. I didn't know it was a trend, but looks like I'm on it.
Yes. Yes. I went to see Harry Styles in LA
Oh my
not last year, but the year before that. And it was the one show he canceled because he got sick. And I have still not recovered. I don't think I'll ever recover. But yeah, it ended up being a great weekend anyway, because we were already in a nice hotel and we just ended up having like a spa weekend. So it kind of cushions the blow. But yeah, I agree with you. It's a great way to see the city, like mingle with some locals, listen to some music. So do that. And then the other one, there's two others I want to share. So set jetting. Have you heard of this?
Mhm. But
So it is, yeah. So it's when people watch a show and they get so inspired by the show that they decide they need to book a vacation to this place. Um, I mean, it used to be a thing with like Game of Thrones, right? Everyone went to Croatia and Iceland. So it's come back in full force with shows like White Lotus, where the the setting for the show is like almost another character of the show. So we saw Sicily just like went crazy after White Lotus came out. The next season is going to be filmed in Thailand. And we're already seeing interest in Thailand because of it. Other shows like Emily in Paris, obviously Paris is like integral to that story. And we see every time a new season comes out that searches surge for Paris. So that's kind of a fun one. Some of the shows that'll be coming out in the next year that we expect to drive travel are White Lotus, Emily in Paris, also like the new season of The Crown just came out. And so London and Bath and Windsor are all kind of popping because of that. The show Wednesday, did you watch that? Wednesday
I,
Addams, like the
I
new
did.
Addams Family one? It's great. It's set in Romania, or it's filmed in Romania. So that one drove travel interest in Romania last year. So lots of cool ideas there.
Amazing. So if a show is hot, people are probably going there.
Yes. Like actually like 60% of people actually have booked a trip that was inspired by a show they watched.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. I love it. So it just depends on really what's coming out, who's around. It's influenced by those factors. Is there anything else, or is there another place that you see that's commonly a hot destination and shows up every year?
Well, yes. I mean, New York, Las Vegas,
Mm.
LA, Orlando, like these destinations aren't going anywhere. They're always popular um, because of all the different things you can do in these places, the fact that they're very family friendly in a lot of ways, accessible. So those places aren't going anywhere. All of these places I'm mentioning as kind of like alternatives are just to get you thinking maybe a little bit outside the box.
But
Um, and dreaming a little bigger, still obviously go to New York. I love New York, but also maybe go to Romania, you know?
right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to ask you this, for some of our listeners and for Dani and I personally, we love traveling and having more of this slow living, like really relaxed, more wellness focused kind of trip. I feel like so much of our lives as professionals and entrepreneurs is working all the time. So if we can get away from that and just move into a slower speed, where would you recommend? And have you been there yourself? Like tell us more.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned wellness,
Mhm.
and I think we've looked into trends before around wellness, and last year there was an interesting trend around people looking to be like more one with nature, being like outdoors. There were trends we saw where people were seeking out like forest bathing, which is where you like go into the forest and literally just commune with the trees. And I live in the Pacific Northwest, so that's just like part of our daily life, what we do up here. Um, but Japan popped up as a really great destination for those types of trips. Obviously, you can go to Tokyo, a huge city, but you can also go outside of Tokyo. There's a lot of more rural destinations across Japan, where you can stay in a ryokan, which is like a traditional, smaller, like um, lodging option in Japan that usually has a lot of kind of nature access. It's usually kind of a detox or unplugged type place to stay. So those are really cool places. Another way we've seen wellness kind of popping up as a trend is people have been increasingly looking for alcohol-free experiences or low alcohol experiences from travel. So, obviously we've seen like new beverage brands, you've seen like NA bottle shops, celebrities are like launching their own alcohol-free lines. And the travel industry has really caught on to this and is catering to sober, curious travelers as well, which is cool. I was just in Las Vegas, which is not your average place where you would think of like an alcohol-free experience. But I did a mocktail tasting experience at the Wynn. Their master mixologist there is actually a non-drinker, and she crafts all of these like incredible, delicious NA cocktails, and they're super inventive. She's like a scientist. So it's just a great example of like, no matter where you're going, I think there are ways that you can have the experience that you're looking for, regardless of what it is.
I love that. Yeah, and we had our Mindful Mixer series. We did an event in New York and then an event in LA. And seeing these hotels wanting to be more involved in this kind of experience of how do we offer events that aren't focused around alcohol is a really beautiful thing. And I know the listeners here are like, where do I go for that? And are there, other places that are doing these mocktail classes or mixers or whatever it may be where they can learn like how do I make this at home, what
Totally.
and I think people are just so interested in taking something from travel, experiencing it themselves, and then taking back into their lives, right? We go travel because we get to relax. Can we bring that experience back home with us? And if it resonates with where they're at and just this mindful way of thinking, they would love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I loved it. It was one of the first things we did when we got to Las Vegas this last time, and it actually really like carried through the entire rest of the trip. Like it it was like a light bulb turned on, and all of a sudden you realized you could participate in the fun and like order a mocktail instead of alcohol. And I have never spent a Vegas trip feeling so good and so well rested. And
Right.
like it was just really, really nice. So that was like really eye-opening to me and a really fun change. And it was almost like a new way to experience a destination that I've been to many, many times.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, now I want to book a trip. Now I gotta book
Well,
the trip
yes.
for Danny and I. Danny, if you're
Yes.
listening to this, don't really listen. Um, yeah, no, but it's really great to learn about just different ways that we can save and also still experience, and then also staying safe while we're traveling and going into these different places and understanding like who's in collaboration, and that you all, consider that in your searches and filters and make that a priority. That means a lot to us, and I think it goes a really long way and shows more about the brand. So I really appreciate that. And I'm excited. Is there any other like cool things that you can share with us, like inside scoop about travel for 2024?
Yeah, I am curious. And I want to ask you a question about this too. So, one of the other things that came out of our research is something we're calling vibe check. So, it used to be that people, many people do, when you're searching for a hotel, you're looking for like, amenities. You're maybe looking for proximity to like something you're going to go do in that city. But it turns out people are actually searching for like, what's the vibe? So people are looking for things like an industrial vibe or a retro vibe of their hotel. So reviews from guests mentioning the word vibe have increased by over 1,000% compared to last year. And maybe that's because maybe vibe is just like a more popular word this year. But some of the fun vibes we found in looking at that data are people are looking for retro vibes and they're looking for Margaritaville vibes. I don't know. Maybe that it's a certain set of people, but Margaritaville vibe did pop up. And another one that's interesting in terms of amenities for lodging is people are looking for vacation rentals with outdoor amenities. So they want like pickleball courts and they want cold plunge pools. And, it's less about the bedroom and bathroom count and more about what's on the outside, like what you can enjoy that maybe you don't have at home. So those are kind of fun things too.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm always, and this is so true, like I want to really hear real people's experience going to a place. And if someone's like, it passed the vibe, like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't, it's not a vibe. Like I really am like, whoa, it's not a vibe. I'm not going. But I love like
It really captures that like je ne sais quoi of the place, you really want to know, like, does it have a bad vibe?
Exactly. I know. And I don't know if this is true. You let me know. Did you add videos where people can add video reviews on your site?
I haven't heard that, but
I won't start a rumor.
maybe. I know. Now I'm like, I need to ask Anna,
But
my
I would,
coworker.
yeah, but I would love to like see someone's video and be like, this was my experience. Like that would just feel more genuine to me. And I would want to know like, what is this? Like I want to hear. Was it a vibe? Can I tell in your voice if you had a good time? If you were vibing? But
1,000%. I mean, you don't want to like book a coffee or a restaurant, like a date somewhere that has bad vibes, no matter how good the food is, or like, you know what I mean? So it makes total sense. And I think to your point about videos, like it's why we all like love to consume travel content on social, because you can see the place and you can feel like you can really get like an accurate view of it versus just scrolling through the pictures that the hotel has probably paid a lot of money to to produce, right? Like you want to know firsthand how it's going to be. So it makes
for
total
sure.
sense.
Well, I'm going to share my vibe check and like what passes the vibe for me. And then I want to know from our audience, like send us a message on Instagram at Coming Out Happy and let us know like what passes the vibe check for you. What is it that you look for in travel when you're going places, whether that's accommodations, food, proximity, like tell us, we want to know. But for me, I really love if it's walkable, like that's great. Recently we just went skiing in Park City. It was super important to me to have that just very seamless experience because I don't know if you ever skied before, but those boots hurt like so bad. And so you don't want to walk far at all.
You're like hobbling from
Yeah,
destination to
no
destination.
thanks. And I don't bring my skis that I have at home. So to rent like outside of the hotel and then to easily walk to the ski lift, that's just a must. Like must have that. So having these different accessibility points of like, okay, this is really easy. This is something that I can seamlessly do, knowing that there are amenities like an outdoor pool that's heated and outdoor hot tubs, knowing there's a spa because sometimes you get a little sore, knowing that there's like it was a little cold, but I would love like pickleball courts for sure, like outdoor activities, a basketball hoop, just like fun things that make the experience better where you're like hanging out and then you're like, let's go shoot some hoops, or just those fun things. I love it honestly when hotels have live music. That is so fun to me.
Yes,
They have a little
agreed.
cafe or something, and you have like you go to dinner and then you come back and you have like a decaf latte and you're listening to live music. That's a vibe.
I think to your point, I love gathering spaces. So I will gladly stay in a hotel that has like a smaller room, like a more kind of minimalist room. A lot of the hotels in New York are like that, right? It's like a very small room, but when you leave your room, there's all these shared spaces. There's a place that's a good spot to like work on your laptop for a few minutes. There's like a cafe, there's a restaurant that's open late. There's just like some lounging area. Like I think for me, the vibe is improved when there's gathering spaces and when they have people in them. Like I want to kind of have a little hustle and bustle going on, it makes you like feel like you can go about your day. And I don't know. That's the vibe to me.
Yeah, I love it. No, there's an energy, right, in these hotels, in these spaces that we stay, and you just wanna feel like you're away from home, but you could meet cool people, right? I feel like connection's a big point of, like, why I wanna travel, why I wanna go places is who can I meet? Like, can I meet someone new? Can I have an interesting conversation? Can I learn from someone that's different than me? So yeah, I think travel is and Anna and I just spent time at the International Gay Lesbian Travel Association conference, and it was so fun because we got to meet so many different people, and Anna also works with Christy. And it was just, I think going and experiencing that, like connection is everything, and it changes the way that we see the world. So I love it. Christy, you had amazing tips, and seriously, you planned my next anniversary with Dani, and she's gonna be so happy. She
I
might not listen to this episode, but I have 3 places that I could still surprise her with, so.
That's right. You have choices. She won't know which one. I can't wait to hear about your trip, and I can't wait to provide more tips. If you do go with Quebec City, I have a friend who just went there and spent a bunch of time there, so I'll have some good tips for you.
I love it.
Um, and I'm sure I can scrounge up some really good suggestions for either of the other places too. So you just let me know.
I will. Thank you so, so much for being on the podcast today and just sharing all your knowledge and being such a joy. It was fun.
Yes, I'm happy to come back anytime and talk travel. So you
Yes,
let me know.
I love it. All right. Thanks everyone for listening today, and we will see you soon.